Hello and happy Saturday. Good morning, everyone. My name is Meghan Maes, and this is Being Civil in Minnesota. This is a Facebook group where you can come here and join the group and ask questions about family law or the courts. You can ask them anonymously. Today we're going to be covering a member question, so I'd like to thank the members who've posted questions and encourage anybody who has additional questions to ask them. This is not a place for legal advice. I am a lawyer, but I'm not going to be representing you. This is just a place for free resources, free legal information. A lot of great stuff out there, a lot of terrible stuff out there. So I want to make sure that people are being put in the right direction to find some good information. Two great resources for that would be lawhelpmn.org and the Minnesota Judicial Branch website. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about, hey, good morning. Today's topic is a member question, and we are going to be talking about co-parenting and communication with your children when they are with the other parent or other individual whom you're sharing custody and parenting time with. So the question was, can the other parent prevent contact with your kiddo when they're with them? The answer is, unless there's a court order that prevents contact, or there is a restraining order or provision that says that you cannot have contact with your children. Under Minnesota law, every parent has the right to what is called reasonable access and telephone or other electronic communication with the children when they're with the other parent. So, family court is done in civil district court. And what does it mean to be civil? It means reasonable. How do we define what reasonable is? Obviously, if you're asking, can a parent limit contact, that's kind of an unreasonable position to be in. So you look at what is the definition of reasonable, and it means ordinary or usual. There is not really case law in Minnesota about what regular, ordinary, and usual contact is. So that is going to be done sort of on a case-by-case basis. What can determine whether or not the contact is reasonable? Well, hi, Chris. What if he is a psycho? Well, that is a great question. If they're a psycho, then you should probably already have a restraining order, and that person would then not be able to contact your kiddos. I love you, Chris. So it depends what is reasonable. How old are the children? Younger kids, there's going to typically be a lag when it comes to what is their attention span. Most kids of a young age can recognize what a cell phone is, and parents are going to have different opinions as to how much screen time a kid should have. But most of the times when I see kids on a cell phone, they're going to be, doing one of these or running around the house and not really engaging in a meaningful dialogue. And that's okay because they're young kids. So those conversations are going to be short. They're going to be typically arranged through accessing that child through the other parent. So hopefully you have a good co-parenting relationship. If you're not able to arrange that, you'll have to figure out what is a good time to speak with your younger kid. Younger kids are going to probably have earlier bedtimes. They're not going to be one that says, I want to call dad, mom, grandma. So normally you're going to have to encourage that kind of contact. Now, you don't have to force a child to have communication with the other parent, but you may not prevent the contact if the child wants it. With older kiddos, you're going to be looking at, well, what is their schedule? They're going to have more hours in the day, probably stay up later, but they're going to have activities, work schedules, friends, and they may not be, as kids get older, they want to be spending more times with their friends and doing those kinds of activities. With an older child, they're going to be able to have the ability to initiate the contact or request the contact. And a lot of older kids are having access to devices. It may not necessarily be through mom or dad's cell phone that they do this communication. They may have their own device. online gaming. You can communicate through online. There's kids' messengers. There's all kinds of apps and tools and ways to have that kind of communication with your kiddo. But keeping them engaged is going to be really the difficult part. When I try to reach out to my 11-year-old, it's like he has things that he is doing, and I love that he is busy and not, constantly worried. When we look at reasonable contact, is the parent gatekeeping? Meaning, are they preventing the contact? And there's gatekeeping that is reasonable and gatekeeping that's unreasonable. If you're at an all-day event or at a wedding and you have a normal time set up, maybe reschedule that. It might not be a good time to take a break and do a structured call, but certainly if that's the case, you probably knew in advance and could make other arrangements for that. So what can you do if the other parent is being unreasonable, not permitting contact, and even worse, demanding contact when it's your time, so that the standard is not the same for both? And there may be reasons for the court to issue a contact schedule for one parent if they go a long period of time without seeing the children. And it may not be reasonable to have that same contact if you're, say, going just for a few hours or an overnight visit. There may not be a reason to sort of disrupt that time if one parent does have sort of limited access. So best interest of the kids is having both parents that can encourage and permit the contact with the children. The Minnesota Judicial Branch put out a parenting focus guide, and it does start with sort of the assumption that kids are going to do better if they have frequent and encouraging contact with both parents. If a parent is gatekeeping and not allowing contact, then you have to consider what are your options. One option is to go in front of a court and make a request for something called parenting time assistance. Parenting time assistance requests are typically not ones that are going to change the structure of the schedule or that are going to change the decision making, but they're going to make the co-parenting situation better. They're going to assist the parties when maybe they can't agree. So you could file a request with the court indicating your concerns. A lot of times the courts are very, very busy, and so it's going to be important for you to show why you believe this is unreasonable. Are you making requests in writing? Are you making these requests during nap time or after bedtime or during dinner? Is the other parent making requests that you're ignoring? So you could show that through text messages or call logs or things like that, but the court is going to want to see what efforts have you made, why have those efforts failed, and what do you want to see happen moving forward. So you could set a time and say Tuesdays from this time to this time, we'll make the kiddo available, we'll eliminate distractions, especially for the younger kids. Unfortunately, there are families out there that do have a parent that will try to manipulate a child into not wanting to be on the call, either by looming over the child or by making something more fun or saying, oh, we're going to go to the pool after this. And so making sure that there are some sort of reasonable parameters in place. Like I said, avoiding meal times, nap time, bedtime. The other question I get a lot with these is, can I monitor the phone calls? In certain circumstances, monitoring calls is reasonable, and in some cases where children or parents are experiencing safety concerns or concerns about inappropriate conversations being had or information being gathered, if for example, maybe your location is not known to the other parent, they could be asking, is there a park near the neighborhood? Where does Daddy like to go to get groceries? And that could be used for an inappropriate reason for gathering information. there are apps out there that can help you with the monitoring, or, audio recording, making sure that it's not being done in a way that is disruptive or that is trying to prevent the contact. But if you're just monitoring, and you do have reasonable, legit safety concerns, that could be one option. So my friend Chris asked earlier, what if the other parent is a psycho? And while as a parent, you're automatically kind of granted the right to have this access to your children, if you have concerns that that will be abused or used inappropriately, the court has the ability to waive that provision. So if you have experienced harassment or domestic abuse, sexual assault, and that contact is going to negatively impact you or your household or your children, the court can waive those rights and can say that in this certain circumstance, I'm either going to define what I believe to be as reasonable and set specific parameters on that, or I'm going to say no, in this certain circumstance, it should not be reasonable for one parent to reach out and sort of disrupt the day of the child or the other parent, especially when that communication has to go through the other parent. So, no. The simple answer 10 minutes ago to this is no, you cannot prevent contact unless you have an order that says there's restricted communication or contact, or there is no court order and you're an unmarried mom. You have the right to determine the custody and parenting time and schedule for your kiddo, or the judge can step in and say, this is not reasonable. And when people are being unreasonable, the judge is kind of sort of the place of last resort. So hopefully the judge is reasonable. That's it for today. And I hope that you guys will keep asking questions, keep inviting people that may have questions about custody and parenting time, maybe can't afford a lawyer, maybe don't know what to ask, or they can post questions anonymously. And hopefully that you guys have a great rest of your Saturday. Enjoy this beautiful weekend we're having. I know school is coming up. I would be lying if I said I'm really prepared for that. So take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. I will see you guys next Saturday.